Everyone, hope we are doing well. We've got some good news, and of course, when good news comes along at West Ham United, you know there's only one thing guaranteed coming up: bad news as well. Courtesy of The Athletic, they're reporting this morning, we're going to start with the negative, of course, is that the extent of Jarrod Bowen's injury. They're reporting that he's got a small bone fracture in his foot, and he's facing a race against time to be fit for our first game against Lyon in the quarter-final of the Europa League, which is still 2.5 weeks away. It's not even round the corner. I'm not going to lie, I expected him back by now. We have missed him. We have missed Jarrod Bowen. But what a blow that would be if the reports from Athletic are true. Because that would mean he would miss the Everton game as well as the Lyon one as well. And we really do need him back. He obviously went off injured against Liverpool a couple of weeks ago. We all went... because he was our star man at the time. He still is our star man, isn't he? The most influential player in the final third of the pitch. So we all worried. The club did a report on the official website. I can't remember the word. And what was it? There was no significant damage or something like that. No significant injury to Jarrod Bowen. So that was good news. We thought, okay then, that's not the end of the world. The unofficial reports were that he was going to miss the first leg of the Europa League game in Seville, and he was going to miss the Aston Villa one. But he'd be back for the second leg at the London Stadium. Obviously he wasn't. However, we coped fine. We won. We lost yesterday against Tottenham, but saying that, it was a relatively good weekend for West Ham in regards to sort of European football next season. Obviously not because of our result, but because of the results in the FA Cup. Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool have all won. They're in the semi-final, as well as Crystal Palace. As long as Crystal Palace do not win the FA Cup, 7th place in the Premier League will get European football next season. It will be the Europa Conference League. 6th place will get promoted to the Europa League. But yes, as long as Crystal Palace don't win the FA Cup, 7th place gets European football. So a bit of a boost for West Ham United. But anyway, back to Jarrod Bowen. Now, I have heard elsewhere contradictory reports suggesting that sort of it's not that bad and that he should be fine. That Jarrod Bowen's actually started sort of light treadmill work, if you like. He was at the game yesterday against Tottenham. He didn't have a protective boot on, which would suggest that he perhaps hasn't got a bone fracture in his foot. Otherwise, you'd imagine he'd have a protective boot on his foot at the game. But David Moyes was asked yesterday about the return of Jarrod Bowen and Vladimir Coufal, of course. And he basically said that he doesn't really know about Jarrod Bowen. Moyes almost refused to put a timeline on it whatsoever, which is a bit concerning, really. It's one of them you just assumed he'd be okay. And like I said, I thought he'd be back for the second leg one. So it was a bit of a blow he wasn't there. But you get over it pretty quickly when you go on and win the game, don't you? We obviously won. Yarmolenko, sort of an unlikely hero again for 2 games in a row. But we do need Jarrod Bowen back because we've got 10 massive games. At the minute we may have 12, we may even have 13. But at the minute we've got 10 massive games left this season. 2 against Lyon and 8 in the Premier League to try and A, win the Europa League and B, qualify for European football next season. And it'd certainly be much helpful if we had Jarrod Bowen. Now, one thing I will say in regards to Bowen being out, I think one player has benefited, and I think one player is Saïd Benrahma. You know, in the 2 Premier League games since that Jarrod Bowen has missed, Saïd Benrahma's got 2 assists and a goal. I think he played well against Sevilla in first leg. I thought he was our best player yesterday at Tottenham as well. So I think Benrahma's stepped up a little bit now since Jarrod Bowen's been out injured, if you like. Is it because Jarrod Bowen's out injured? I don't know. It's hard to say though, isn't it? He's certainly got more game time, I think, without Jarrod, which would make sense. You know, if you're missing one of your top attackers, the other attacker is going to get more game time on the pitch. But as a result of that, like I said, we've seen 2 assists and a goal to his name. So Benrahma's performances have certainly improved, and he's benefited from the Jarrod Bowen injury. But let's hope the Athletic are wrong on that. But let's hope they're correct on the next one. Because the good news is that they're reporting that we've obviously got roughly an £11 million option on Alphonse Areola. We've got him on loan from PSG this season. But not only that, I think we've always known we've got some option to buy on a goalkeeper if we wish to. But pardon me for 1 second. I'm back. I went for a drink and ended up having a coughing fit. But anyway, back to discuss the Areola thing. So, we've already established that pretty much everybody knew we had an option to buy on Areola for some sort of fee. We now know it's roughly around 11 million. But what the Athletic are also reporting, I've not heard anywhere up until now, last summer, the January transfer window, last week. So apologies if it's out there, I've missed it completely. But they're reporting that West Ham have actually got an option already in place with PSG to loan Areola for a second season. Now, if that's true, changes the game as far as I'm concerned. That changes absolutely everything, and especially our plans for the summer in regards to the goalkeeping situation. Until back in the summer, I expected Areola to come in and eventually be our number one. Moyes to have a bit of a succession plan where Fabianski starts the season, but Areola finishes it as number one. And now, as we speak, Fabianski's clearly David Moyes' number one choice, and I've got nothing against that. I can understand why. He's a top goalkeeper. However, I'm perhaps a bit surprised at the... Depends how you want to look at it. Either the patience shown by David Moyes or the reluctance shown by David Moyes to make Areola the number one goalkeeper. Depends how you want to look at it. Same thing, just different angles really. But I think if this is true, the loan option that is, I think it becomes completely understandable. Because if Moyes knows, and Moyes obviously will know if this is true, then I'm not surprised at all if he's a bit laid back, thinking I don't need to rush Areola. I can take my time with switching him in Fabianski. I can take a long time having a look at Areola and deciding if he's the goalkeeper for me going into next season at West Ham United. It just changes absolutely everything. I remember a few years ago, someone said to me, when we had Adrian and Dan Randolph as the keepers at the club, they kept alternating, didn't they? So maybe every 10 games we'd switch the goalkeeper around. Not because we were giving the other one a go, it's because someone would go in and play well for a few games and play poorly for a few games, and the other one would go back in. And he said to me, the problem at the minute at West Ham is we've got two really good number two goalkeepers, but we don't have any number ones. It made complete sense. I thought he was bang on. Adrian, back then, top goalkeeper to have on the bench. Randolph, top goalkeeper to have on the bench at West Ham. But to have them starting, neither were good enough. We've got the complete opposite now, haven't we? Fabianski, top keeper, definitely number one standard. Areola, top keeper, definitely number one standard. And we've also been linked to Sam Johnson a lot all season really, but especially in the last couple of weeks it's heating up. Now I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong. Let it be known when Gio's wrong often, he doesn't mind admitting it, not so often. But I got the Sam Johnson one wrong. When West Brom got relegated last season, I really wanted to see West Ham go and sign Sam Johnson. I thought he'd be the solution. Not necessarily that we had a problem, but I thought he'd be the guy that would come in, challenge Fabianski and eventually be the number one goalie at West Ham United. Well, I got that wrong because he's been crap. He's been dreadful for West Brom this season. I've only watched him a few times. He's not played well in any of the games, but I see the highlights of the Championship and he's at fault for quite a few goals. And then when I look at West Brom's fans' opinions on Sam Johnson, they can't wait to get rid of him. You know, they're in the Championship, they don't look like they're going to be coming back up to the Premier League, and they cannot wait to get rid of Sam Johnson at all. And they think he's a complete liability at the minute. And I just don't want to see him at West Ham. And I think the only reason we would select Sam Johnson over Areola in the summer is to save money. It's the only reason. It's not on ability. It's not on what Areola's contributed this season, because he's contributed enough. When called upon, he's done the job. The only reason he's not our number one is because Fabianski's played well. And Fabianski has played well this season. He's had a few crap games, yes, but generally Fabianski's been really, really strong. You know, just last week, Aston Villa, man of match. Fabianski, arguably, man of match, top save from Danny Ings. So it's a difficult position for Areola to nudge Fabianski out of the team. He's done nothing wrong, Areola. So the only reason we'd pick Sam Johnson ahead of him is money. Now I'm hoping, if this loan thing is true, and I'm hoping it is true, it just removes the money element from it. The whole will we sign Areola, it just kicks it down the road for another 12 months. We can decide next summer 2023, we'll decide then if we want to sign Areola. We can have a proper, longer look at him. And I guess this is sort of the danger, if you like, of playing Areola in the Cups, where he could potentially become a bit of a cult hero, really, can't he? You know, I thought he was fantastic in the second leg. That save went at 0-0 as well. That save was unbelievable, world class save. Now let's just say he goes on and plays like he did against Sevilla, against Lyon. We get into the semi-final of Europa League with Areola having a big hand, literally a big hand as well, in our progress in the competition. I think it almost becomes dangerous to not sign him. We've almost have to sign him, really, regardless of money and stuff. And I think that's the dilemma. I don't think anyone's ever doubted Areola's ability. To some extent, I don't think we've really doubted the fee. 11 million, that's fine. That's a fair fee for him. I think it's his wages. Is he worth upwards of 100 grand a week? Can West Ham pay that for a goalkeeper? And to be honest with you, I still don't know if the answer is yes at the minute. It still seems a lot of money. Bear in mind, we know what our top earner is on, thanks to the RSPCA. We know what Kurt Zouma is being paid at West Ham United. So can we pay a goalkeeper not far off that? I'm not too sure we can. But we made a mistake last year of... It wasn't a mistake. We brought in Jesse Lingard on loan, did fantastic, and we couldn't sign him in the summer. And we're worse off for it, really, haven't we? You know, we have missed him. We've had a really good season, but it's possible to have a really good season but still miss a player that was part of your squad the season prior and no longer part of your squad. Now, Areola obviously hasn't been as impactful as Jesse Lingard or anything like that. But what my point is that we've seen what happens when you don't sign that player you've got on loan and has performed well. We didn't replace Jesse. Yes, Vlasic came in, but he's not the same player, is he? He plays in the same position, different style of player, but same position. But it's not really worked out. And that would be the worry with Areola, that we did let him go in the summer and we did go try and get someone like Sam Johnson instead. It's big shoes, or big gloves if you like, to fill. And I hope we don't. I hope Areola's here next season. And this news, if it's true, is huge for West Ham, it's huge for David Moyes, it's huge for Areola, but it's also huge for our transfer budget, because like I said, it just means that we can kick the can down the road, keep the goalkeeping situation the same next season without spending a penny. I say spend a penny. I'd imagine there's a loan fee attached to that of $1 million, $2 million or something like that, but for a top goalkeeper on loan for a further season that we know has settled in at the club, we know gets on well at the club, that the players like, has done well for us, I think that's a bit of a bargain, really. There wasn't really much risk bringing Areola in for this season, but keeping him for next season, a bit of a no-brainer, really. Really low risk. Anyway, there you have it. So, Jarrod Bowen could be injured. Race against time for the Lyon game. Hopefully, he's back fit. I'm sure we'll hear a bit more about this, but as I said, there is some contradictory reports in regards to that, in regards to the progress and return of Jarrod Bowen. But there you go, Areola. West Ham have a loan option for him this summer. Reported by The Athletic anyway. If you've enjoyed this video, drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and I shall catch you tomorrow.